And a 1-0 pitch from Wells. Swinging a high fly ball left field. This is deep. Back it goes. Yes, sir. It's out of here. Home run. The Durbinator touches them all. The Red Sox on top. Again. 6-5.
To say anymore, Obi.
And it is a Jim Rice winning streak now for the Red Sox. 14 in a row, the second longest in history. The only time they've won this many games in a row, Ted Williams was 27 years old and was leading the Red Sox to the American League pennant and a trip to the World Series. This is historic stuff, and it's been a lot of fun. Welcome, everybody. 310 to left, presented by New England Ford Dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling truck for 49 years, the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. I'm Tom Caron. He's Will Middlebrooks. Will, they saved it for you. I was worried you'd come back and it'd be a ho-hum game, but you got yourself a moment.
Hey, winning is great. Not losing my first game in the Nesson booth during this streak is even better.
Hang on, it's amazing, isn't it? Because I was on vacation at the beginning of this, and you come back and you're like, oh, don't lose the first game. I mean, if you're gonna lose the second game, it's okay, but just don't let me be the guy who puts the cooler on it.
It's such a baseball way of thinking, like we have anything to do with it, right? But it's like, I felt pressure yesterday. And I had nothing to do with the performance of these players, but I felt the pressure. I was texting Lou all game. They better not do this to me. He's all over. It was this funny banter back and forth, but this is just unreal. The things just keep bouncing their way, right? And every time another team does something wrong, they score a run. Every time.
Right.
They came back 3 times last night.
Yeah, you were on that last night. The 4 errors absolutely factored into that. We'll dig into the game for a minute, but first, we got the Jim Rice winning streak. They go for the Dustin Pedroia win streak. Can they get to a Will Middlebrooks 16, which would be the record?
Oh, if that means I get a new jersey to come hold up and take a picture, I can go for that.
How about Luzman on this? How about getting to 20 in Sacktown? Can you take it to Moneyball heaven and match the 20-game winning streak?
While playing that organization, that would be absolutely bonkers.
This has been unbelievable. And the thing about it, right, is it's not Aaron Judge leading the Yankees. It's somebody different every night. You look at the overall numbers, outscoring teams by 53 runs over 14 games, and that's the big difference, right? Well, they were eking out wins before. The bullpen, lockdown bullpen. Whitlock, we'll talk about a little bit. Unbelievable, quietly getting the ball to Chapman every night. But it starts with the offense, Will, because it is a completely different offense. And they're doing small things, putting the ball in play, ground balls to the right side of the infield, dropping a bunt, 6 bunt singles this month, more than they had in the entire season coming into this streak. It's just a completely different approach at the plate, and it's paying off.
They lead baseball in bunts this month during this win streak. What? You know, in a league that it leans so heavily to slug and home run. And we saw this group try to do that for a couple months, and then finally they went, that's not us. We're not built that way. Let's play a little different. And now it's turning into wins. And you saw it with the Rays and the Brewers, these teams earlier in the year, and how hard it is to combat that, even with as good of a defensive team as we have. It's hard to combat that style of baseball. You have constant pressure on the other team. And to your other point, TC, 8 different players have had go-ahead or game-winning hits over this 14-game streak. 8, right? That's somebody almost every night stepping up, saying, all right, it's my turn. And last night you were just waiting, right? In that last inning, Contreras leads off, or in the 8th inning, Contreras leads off. He takes 2 massive swings at mistakes over the plate, and you're like, man, there was the chance for him to do it. Duran strikes out, and then Durbin comes up and does what he did. It's just like, all right, it was his turn tonight.
And now we have the booth cam, which is a nightly feature on NESN, right? And I know you were home looking at those clips of Lou and how he was getting to enjoy the moment. So last night we got to watch you enjoy the moment. OB is so good at the big moments. Guy's been doing it forever at the national and international level. Now doing it with the Red Sox every night. When he's calling that, I mean, you're turning away. What is going through your mind at that point?
I had a good idea we were going to be on camera, and I was doing my best not to vomit. I got hit with such a spike of adrenaline that I didn't know what to do. I was literally speechless in that moment. And what's crazy is we were almost just waiting for it to happen. Like I said, you're waiting for someone to do it because someone has stepped up and come up with the big hit every single night. And it's just, it like punches you in the gut in a really good way, obviously. And to your point, too, OB has been awesome. Every one of these calls has been just, it has matched the moment. And you got to be happy for the fan base, too, because, I mean, they grinded through the early parts of this season, as did as we did. But it was, you feel like that they've earned this, and OB's been matching the moment for sure.
I was saying to someone this morning, just the difference when you drive into the ballpark, how exciting it is to go to work right now. And we love what we do. And it's not that we didn't want to do it a month ago, but you're driving in saying, what are we going to talk about tonight? How are we going to break down? How are we going to break down Caleb Durbin's struggles tonight? Well, now, 6 weeks later, you can't say enough good things about the guy. The numbers since around Memorial Day have been incredible. 9 of his 10 home runs. The first one was off an outfielder, and that was the only one he sat on for 2 months, right? And now, I mean, again, you talk about a team-changing approach. He was with us in the postgame show in studio on Sunday and was just talking about getting back to that line drive, center field to right field approach, and how when you do that, it's almost like giving it up to the baseball gods, right? If you stop trying to hit home runs, guess what? You might hit some home runs because there'll be mistake pitches that you get into.
Yeah, he's the poster child for this season. I mean, it's the perfect example of just a guy that comes in, puts his head down, goes to work. He's not getting the results. He's the same guy every day, which is great. You've seen that with Chad Tracy also since he came in. He got put in a tough spot coming over into this job once Cora was let go. He's been the same guy every day. But I have been so impressed by Caleb Durbin because people forget, too, he's in his second year in the big leagues, right? He comes over in this trade. He's supposed to make this instant impact. The second year in the big leagues is your hardest year. Your first year that the league doesn't know you, you put together some results, a book starts to be developed where guys know how to pitch you. For him, that transition phase was in his first 2 months with a brand new ball club in a city that is going through it, right? High expectations, and you're losing, you're getting booed. There's all these sell the team chants. You're like, where am I? What is going on? I can't get a hit. Luckily, his defense was great and kind of helped him hold on. But for him to just come in every day and be the same guy and have the mature mindset of this is baseball. It's going to turn around. I know I'm a good player. I'm going to stick with my routine. I'm going to make the tweaks I need to make, which was, him trying to pull everything in the air to realize I'm a complete hitter. I need to use the whole field. And then I'll get good pitches to pull, which we saw yesterday. It's mature beyond his years and his experience in the major leagues. It's been really cool to watch. And like I said, it's the poster child for the 2026 Red Sox.
Yeah, his turnaround has been incredible. Now not just producing, but doing it in the clutch like last night. After the game, he stopped to talk with Jemai Webster as the celebration was continuing around him.
All right, thank you very much. The never say die Red Sox. That was your second career game-tying or go-ahead home run there in the 8th inning or later. How were you able to set up that situation, Caleb?
Trying to make something happen. Kicking myself for not coming through earlier and wanting to make something happen for the guys.
You've been through everything with this Fenway crowd, from the first series of the year to the moment that you just experienced, but you never doubted yourself. How good did it feel to inject that life into the place and to the group?
That's what it's about, man. We're playing really good baseball right now. We're playing Red Sox baseball, and we're fired up. We want to keep it rolling.
14 wins in a row. It's almost unfathomable. But how much has this stretch really fortified the team's resilience and their resolve?
It's just the way we're winning, man. We're having games where we're scoring a lot and winning by a lot, and then we're coming back like this, and we're winning the dogfights, and that's what you need, going into the postseason.
in this game, certainly a dogfight. Back and forth, you guys answer the bell every single time. What's the conversation like in the dugout? What's going on inside the group that you guys are saying that you guys are not in this?
It just doesn't matter what the score is. There's a ton of energy in the dugout. I mean, Fenway's rocking. It's a lot of fun right now.
Caleb, thanks for the time, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Well, it's funny, right? We talk about the little things. That's a guy, you talk about him sort of being the poster child for what they've done. The bunts, right? We show the home run, but he's been part of the bunt brigade. You mentioned it. They've got 6 bunt hits in July. They had 6 total in March, April, May, and June. Those 4 months combined, they had 6 bunt singles. They have 6 more this month. And I know they're not going to say we've changed our philosophy, okay? But clearly they have. And my God, they were talking about it over the weekend, Will. You're looking at infields coming in. When's the last time you see an infield in? And all of a sudden, infields are in, and it's opening up for other guys. It really is so refreshing to watch the way this team is playing baseball right now.
Yeah, I think my favorite part of the whole thing is having every player buy in, whether that's, you know, the vets on the team, whether it's the coaching staff, whatever it is. You're seeing Cedar Rafaela, one of your better players, better hitters on the team, clutch guys on the team, try to put a bunt down in the first inning a couple of nights ago, right? And you're going, it's the first, right? Normally it's just like, all right, you play the game, hit a ball in the gap, let's get this thing going. But Cedar realizes the guys with Abreu and Contreras who are behind him and what they've done lately, the way they're swinging it, and he's saying, I'm going to give myself up and move these guys over because I know we win a lot of ball games if we score in the first inning. And that's just, it's selfless, and it is a total buy-in over the whole roster right now, and it's paying off.
And then you got the big bopper in the middle right now. It's Wilson Contreras, obviously. 22 home runs. The 5-game suspension wound up coming at a great time. His foot was banged up. We got to keep an eye on that. He was working on that last night after that slide into third base, and then having the trainers look at that in the dugout. But he's picked up where he's left off. Couple of home runs out of the break. The home run derby, if anything, came at a good time. A lot of times you're worried that the home run derby is going to mess a guy up. But let's take a moment and give kudos to Major League Baseball. I thought the new format for the home run derby was terrific. It's less frenetic, right? It's less guys swinging as many times as they can. It's more under control. You can take a breather. You know it's X number of swings. I thought the format was terrific.
Yeah, as always, spot on, TC. It was way better. The timer was a killer. Like it not only was it exhausting for the players, but as a viewer, I want to watch how far these baseballs are going, right? If they're juiced or not, I don't care. Like, I want to see 500-foot homers or 490-foot homers that Contreras was hitting in his first round. And I want to have time to see that. I want to see people's reaction to it. I want to hear it and not just have the ball go up and it reaches its apex and then it's right back to the next pitch, right? You're just that's not fun. That's not home run derby. It's a sprint, right? It feels like a track meet. But as far as Contreras goes, the production's one thing, the leadership is on another level. And this team has been looking for a guy to step up and be that guy. And when he came over, you expected it to just instantly happen. And that takes time. You can't just come into a brand new group of guys and be that guy. You have to build the relationships and the trust, and you have to show it with your actions on the field and during batting practice, in the weight room, off the field with guys. It takes time. And you see them rally around him, and it's his passion and his intensity and the way he plays the game. But I loved what he said after the game yesterday when he said, I am so proud of my teammates. Like, that's a leader, right? It's just, you put your teammates ahead of yourself, and it's almost like a proud father, right? And that's who he is right now in that clubhouse.
Yeah, a little Big Papi vibes, no doubt about that, right? He said at one point, if you can read his lips during the game, this is my bleeping house, as the place goes. Let's hear him directly. Let's hear what he said after the game. Here's Wilson Contreras after win number 14 in a row last night.
We're winning. This is fun. I mean, we are playing good baseball. We are pitching, we're playing defense, we are hitting, we're taking good at-bats, good pitches, and we're not taking anything for granted.
You said that kind of last night, how resilient the group has become. How much has that been strengthened over the course of this streak?
A lot. I think it shows that the way we play, especially tonight, we were down a few times during the game, and we went back up again. So I was just trying to tell the guys that let's do whatever it takes to get on base, and then see what happens. Of course, we're playing a good baseball. We play against a good team like the Orioles, where they are playing good as well. But we are relentless, we're resilient, and we are looking forward to keep going this way.
How about the fans? You guys feeding off the fans?
For sure. I mean, you saw my reaction when I hit the double. These fans are passionate. They know what's going on in the game. They boo whenever they have to boo. I'm just glad that I'm playing for them. I'm glad that I'm here with these guys, and I'm just happy to be in this side of baseball, but also thinking of my teammates. It makes me proud to be here.
You're one game away from tying the franchise record for the longest winning streak, and it's been like 80 years. What would that mean to you and to the group to match that or surpass it?
Oh, it would mean a lot for sure. I mean, we are trying to play the same way every day. We are thriving. We are trying to find a way to win as much as we can, because I know that we have to take advantage of anything, and that's what we're looking for. If it happens, it will be great for us. We have to celebrate that. If it doesn't happen, we have to keep going. But like I said before, this group is relentless and resilient, and it shows on the field the way we're playing.
I talked about the reaction after the double. Here it is, the RBI double that tied the game. Had an RBI single later in the game. Now leads the majors in games with multiple RBI. The hustle double, and you see the reaction there, popping right up, firing up the dugout. This is what you were talking about, Will. This is the emotional leader that when Bregman didn't come back, somebody had to step into that void, and it has clearly been Contreras.
No, it's so true. And as a player, you feed off of your teammates that are like this, that get fired up, even if they walk and they bat flip, you're like, okay, all right. It's like there's so many different layers to his game, where obviously at the top of it is just his production and what he's doing, but the way he gets under the skin of other players and opponents, and you love that, because you can't have too many of those guys, because then it's too much. You need one or two that can kind of spark things and make the other team angry and get in their head a little bit, and you feed off of that, and you want to play off of that and just keep that rolling. So he's been a great addition. I mean, not just for the team, but for us as broadcasters and analysts, and be able to just talk about what he does on a daily basis is a lot of fun.
Of all the things he said, I love that he said they boo when they have to boo. Like, yes. This is a young team that needs to hear that. You and I are in the clubhouse. You're on the road with the team all the time. You hear it from the young guys. You guys are critical, because young guys are still learning that in a place like Boston, you're going to get called out. Durbin's been great about it. When he was on the show the other day, he said, listen, I deserve being booed 2 months into it, but you got to lean on what you've done in the past and know that you're going to get through it. But when you hear the leader say, listen, they're going to boo when they have to boo, but they're going to be behind us, like, that's an important message for a young team to hear.
Yeah, Boston fans make you earn the moments like last night, right? It's because it means so much. We know this. You've been here forever, TC. You've been doing this for a long time. You know that there's nothing better, and you said it last night, there's no better place to win, there's no worse place to lose and not perform. And that is so true. In my 3 years in the big leagues here, last place, World Series, last place. So it was whiplash for me, for 3 years. But like I said, they make you earn it, and it can be really tough for the young players, especially if you haven't really failed much at the professional level, and you get to the big leagues and you're expecting to be a guy, and you go through a couple months of struggles. You need those veterans to lean on that have been through it. Maybe not here, maybe not veterans here that have been through it, but Trevor Story's dealt with it, and I know plenty of guys have gone to him and leaned on him and just said, hey, just wait. When things get going, all of a sudden, all this is worth it, right? When you get that bounce back.
And now it's 14 in a row. An incredible run here. With the All-Star break, they haven't lost in 20 days, which is just insane. When you talk about a baseball team going 3 weeks without a single loss, they haven't felt what it's like to lose in 3 weeks, which is nuts. Now they try to make it 50 in a row, which would match the franchise record. We're going to talk more about that when we come back. They get Ranger Suarez back, an all-star who didn't get to pitch because of the injury, but now he's off the IL and he'll make the start, weather permitting. We got a little of that to deal with. So it's going to be a big night at Fenway Park as the Red Sox go for a little history. Will and I will come back as we continue. It's 3:10 to left, presented by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling truck for 49 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. 3:10 to left is presented by your New England Ford dealers, who've been taking everyone out to the ball game at Fenway Park for decades. Catch Ford next time you're at Fenway, including in the Ford Clubhouse, a full-service bar perfect for bringing your lineup together and for recording our live edition of 3:10 to left. It's all brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. All right, let's talk a little more about Caleb Durbin, because after last night, he's the story of the day. Yesterday was his second career tie-breaking home run in the 8th inning or later. This is what we talked about. If you go back to just after Memorial Day, it's a 44-game stretch. He's hit 9 of his 10 home runs. He's got a .903 OPS, and he's scored 28 runs in 44 games. We welcome you back to 3:10 to left. Tom Caron Will Middlebrooks getting ready for an attempt at history tonight as they try to make it 15 consecutive wins. It's time right now for our game plan for success, presented by Mass Mutual. Scan to learn more about their Grand Slam giveaway. Enter to see the official rules at massmutual.com/Red Sox. And listen, Durbin came over from Milwaukee. And by the way, the throw-ins, Siegler and Monasterio, have been pretty good too. They've been an important part of this. So we ripped that trade for 2 months. Kyle Harrison has come back to earth, and these 3 guys have taken off. So you might want to revisit a little bit of that. But you know, I was talking to someone when the Yankees were in town right at the beginning of all this, that 4-game sweep, Will. And they were telling me when he was in the minors, they thought he was going to be the second baseman for 10 years for the New York Yankees. They're like, and I hate to use the comparison because it's not about height, but they were like, we thought he was going to be our Dustin Pedroia, the second baseman who's really good defensively, who's got a little bit of pop when he needs it, but just a dirt dog who's going to work his tail off and get better every year. And they ultimately traded him, but they said, you know, a lot of people in that organization were really sad to see him go. You go to Milwaukee last year, they had Durbinator videos. Like, he was one of the most popular guys on that team. He'd come up and they had the whole, you know, dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun from the Terminator with his face and the Arnold Schwarzenegger robotic stuff over it. You know, and he comes here, and you and I saw him at spring training, had a really good spring training, and you're like, okay, this guy, I see it now, here we go. And then just 2 months of nothing, to the point where he sat, I think it was 9 out of 12 games he didn't start for a stretch there. Chad Tracy, you know, you say they stuck with him. Well, they kind of stuck with him, but they also pulled him out of the lineup and said, you got to get yourself together. Most guys don't. Most guys can't get better when they're not in the lineup, Will. He did. He put in the work. The defense stayed throughout, and the bat now is exactly what they had hoped.
Yeah, I actually really like the Dustin Pedroia comparison. Obviously, he's playing third. Dustin played second, and you hate to compare anybody to that guy, and you don't want to put those expectations. We've seen that with Bayo and Baby Pedro and all that, and you don't want to do that. But as far as the dirt dog mentality, the whatever it takes to win, the even kill. He probably won't give you the one-liners that Pedroia had. I don't think anybody will ever do that. Just being a quote machine, maybe Johnny Gomes, closest thing. But this is a guy who really shows what it means to wear a Boston Red Sox uniform, the way he's playing. Obviously, it's a small sample size. He just got here this year, but you can tell just the overall makeup of this guy, what he's about. And obviously, we talked about his struggles a lot, him coming out the other side of it, the team sitting him down for a few days to basically, you know, you've seen these stories of him going to work with multiple hitting coaches. And that's just the determination that comes with it. So many players would have just stayed right there, stuck with the hitting coaches at the stadium. For a young player, you know, you have older players that have hitting guys that they'll go see on the road or in the off season. He went searching for answers mid-season in the middle of this and hit with multiple instructors to help not only reshape mechanically what he was trying to do, but reshape his mind as far as approach and his sight lines and perspective and what he's looking to hit and what his strengths are, so he can get better at that and stop trying to do maybe what the league tells you you should do as a third baseman and hit for power. And the monster's a part of this too, right? You come here, you see that thing, and you're like, duh, I'm just going to pull everything in the air. Like, this is easy. I'm going to hit 40 homers. I've been there. It's tough to get past that and get back to the middle of the field where you can be a complete hitter. But what we've seen here over the last 44 games, this is not just a fluke or a blip on the radar. It's 44 games. That's a massive sample size. This is who he is and who he has altered his mechanics, whatever that is, the little tweaks he's made, and then approach-wise, he has been phenomenal and locked in.
Yeah, it's a quarter of a season, right? It's not a week or two. It's a quarter of a season. And yeah, real quick, back to the whole Pedroia comp. I agree. I think it's a great comparison. I just hate that anybody, under 5'10" has to get compared to another guy who's under 5'10". I'm old enough that I was around when Dustin Pedroia came up, and everybody was talking about David Eckstein. And I remember him saying, I'm David Eckstein. I'm going to hit home runs. I'm going to, it was Pedroia, right? I'm not going to be a little singles guy like that. But that was the immediate comparison, right? Because they were small middle infielders, right. And you have to. So that's the only reason I shy away. But I think you're 100% right. The makeup of the guy, it's a terrific comparison.
He just wants to win, and we have several of those guys, that are just like, I would do whatever it takes, whether it's defensively, on the base pass, in the box, in the clubhouse, doesn't matter. They just want to win, and that's what you need. That's what the Boston Red Sox are. That's who they've been for a long time. And they come into this season with such high expectations after last year getting to the postseason again after a couple tough seasons. Obviously, you lose in the wild card series, so that's a letdown of the Yankees. But the expectations were high, and for the season to go how it did for 2.5+ months, to see these guys start kind of reap the benefits of the work they've put in, and that's part of being a young group too, right? And having a young group that's new to the big leagues, it takes time. You can't automatically have success in this league. You have to fail and bounce back and kind of prove to the baseball gods that you're about it, and it's working right now.
And by the way, as he failed with the bat, he continued to excel with the glove. We talked to him about that when he came by the studio on Sunday after the game. Here's what he had to say about the struggles offensively early on, but how he continued to get the job done. Here's Caleb Durbin from the postgame on Sunday.
Hats off to you is that you did not let your offense affect your defense. And I was telling TC that I said, TC, man, it's good. that man's good down there. Because that is the hot corner. And that reminded me a little bit of some old guy named Brooks Robertson. That's the way you play it down there.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, hitting, you know how this game goes. It can go up and down, and it was down for a little while there, but it's back to in a better spot. But I want to make plays for those guys on the mound. That's super important, and defense keeps you in every game. So I wanted to stay consistent there.
You talk about the offense being down. It was down for a couple months. If that happens in the middle of the season, you kind of brush it off. But it's a new team. It's a new season. It happens at the start. How tough was that for you personally? How hard was it away from the ballpark to not let that get to you? Because it's a first impression in a lot of ways for these fans, right?
Yeah, it's toughest when you're away from the field and you can't do anything about it. When you're at the field and grinding it out, you feel a little bit better about it, because I never felt that loss in the box. I just, couldn't get the ball off the ground as much as I would have liked to, and made a few adjustments there at the end of May or whatnot, and things started to turn a little bit, but it's part of the game. You got to keep moving forward, and I played Division III baseball. I had to work my butt off to get here, so it's nothing new for me.
But talk about those adjustments, though. I want to hear him talk about those adjustments, because I noticed you've been hitting the ball to the right side a whole lot more.
Yeah.
That part of it?
Staying inside the ball, working through the middle. Closed off my stance a little bit.
Okay.
I could feel myself pulling off the ball a little bit and try to work through it, but couldn't get it to click and stick. But closed off finally, and then just keeping my hands high and tight inside the ball. Yeah. That's been, a lot of drills inside the cage, ton of work behind the scenes going on that's kind of made the difference.
Awesome.
How about playing in front of a packed house every day?
Yeah, that's special too. There's no lack of energy, in the clubhouse or in the dugout when you're playing at home here. So it's been a blast.
All right, so Will, you were third baseman. You didn't always go 3 for 4. You didn't always hit 3 home runs in a game. You had rough nights. When you're going through a stretch like that, how tough is it to not let it affect you defensively?
Yeah, that is tough, but it's something as a player, you realize there's multiple aspects to the game and multiple ways you can impact the game and help your team win. And you know it when you're going through it. You know, in the middle of a slump, you call it that, like that size, you're going to the field going, how can I help us win? Somehow, like, what can I do? I'm not getting hits. If I get a hit today, it's an accident, you've been there. And, you really, obviously you have a ton of focus in your work and trying to get out of that offensively, but you almost dig in even deeper defensively because you're going, this is what's going well for me right now. I can help us win this way and still be a part of this. I went through that my second year in the big leagues, same as Durbin, and that was 2013. And I was lucky enough to be surrounded by so many veterans who had 10 plus years in the big leagues, who'd been through way more struggles than I'd ever been through at that point in my career. And I was able to lean on the David Ortiz, the Dustin Pedroias, the Ryan Dempsters, the guys who'd been around forever. And I could just go sit next to them on the bus or go to dinner and say, how do I deal with this? And they go, you just got to ride it out, man. Be the same guy every day. Help us win in a different way. And for Durbin, that was his defense and then being a teammate.
It's no doubt the defense has been a consistent aspect of this entire team. It's such a difference from the last couple of years. All right, we'll take a break, come back with more. Tom Warner dropped by the studio yesterday, talked about Caleb Durbin. I don't know if he knew what was coming, but Durbin was the story of the day before, during, and after the game last night. This is 310 to Left, presented by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling truck for 49 years, and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. Back in a moment. We welcome you back to 310 to Left. We look at the wild card standings. I keep saying on the show, we're not going to show these every night, but we might just keep showing these every night. And now you're kind of looking ahead of you, not behind you. You're tied in the loss column of the Guardians for the second wild card spot. You're just 4 back of the Yankees at the top. Hell, you're just 6 games out of first place in the American League East. Certainly things
greedy,
have changed around the Red Sox. Let's get greedy, Will. Tom Warner, chairman of the Red Sox, joined us on a pregame show last night to talk about this Tracy turnaround. How much fun are you having?
So much fun. Listen, winning matters. And we had a pretty scratchy beginning of the season, but we always believed that this team was a playoff contender. And it's just nice. Obviously, we've dealt with some injuries, but everybody has injuries, and I see the team is playing up to its potential right now. I mean, we always knew we had a very strong pitching staff, both starters and our bullpen. We believed in our offense, and it's nice to see that they're executing.
You were here a few weeks ago, and you said, we still believe this group. And we weren't seeing 13 in a row yet. And you said, we still believe this group. What was the video we did 04? Faith rewarded, right? Your faith, at least at this point, is being rewarded. How gratifying is that?
It's gratifying. But listen, we're not counting anybody out. The Orioles are now on a strong winning streak. Toronto, I watched them play in the World Series last year. They were better than the Dodgers, and they lost in a kind of a coin flip way. But we got exciting baseball here at Fenway Park. It was electric this last few games. It's nice that we're winning at home because the fans deserve it. And we just keep trying to win series here.
It's a reciprocal agreement, right? You play better now. The fans are back into it. The fans are back into it. A young team. There was pressure here at home at the beginning. That home record showed it. But now you see them winning these games, and you feel the vibes. Chad Tracy said it a couple days ago. The vibes are different now. Our guys are feeding off the energy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, and we were all so thrilled when Abreu hit that home run. That was the most electric moment of the season so far.
No doubt about it. We've never seen a streak like this. Hasn't happened in your tenure. Hasn't happened.
Right.
It was Ted Williams was in left field.
I was born in 1950.
And you missed it by a couple of years. So talk about the trade deadline now, 2 weeks from today. How much has changed internally? I know you're not going to tell us who you're going to go get, but 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, it would have been a hard case to say we need to invest a lot in this team. Has that changed?
We've always had confidence in Craig. I thought Craig made some brilliant moves in the offseason. He wasn't getting enough credit for some of the moves that he made, whether it was Ranger Suarez or Wilson Contreras. But he's working hard, and we have confidence that if there's listen, it's not going to be easy, right? There are a lot of teams in the playoffs. Very few teams have sort of shown the white flag yet. But I know that they're working the phones, and I'm optimistic. But I just want to say something about Caleb Durbin, because I think that the true fans were obviously frustrated. I talked to Matt Arnold, who is the president of baseball operations for Milwaukee, in May, and he said, "Look, this guy is really talented, and he's going to come around." And what was great is that the team had confidence in him. He was always playing brilliant defensively, and now his WAR is up there with some of the people that people wanted us to sign.
Chad Tracy, obviously, and I said even in the early days when he was here, the first thing he did was sort of settle things, right? That could have been a really chaotic time in the clubhouse. He did a great job of keeping an even keel, letting everybody get through a difficult decision and a difficult time for a team. What have your impressions of him been, and how are there internal discussions about taking away the interim tag?
It's really, I think everybody's focused on this weekend and this week. And, I will say, he's been a great tonic, and the players have responded to him. I think he's a terrific baseball guy, a terrific manager. Look, the style of play, you can see we're winning games playing small ball. I love the fact that we had 2 bunts the other day in succession. And, we can argue about, when to bunt and who's bunting. But we're scoring more runs right now, and we're scoring more runs because we're playing the kind of ball that we see Tampa play, and the kind of ball that the Milwaukee Brewers are playing, as well as obviously hitting home runs. But we're never going to be the team that hits the most home runs in the league. And Chad's leadership is apparent in all kinds of ways.
You talk about those bunts. They've had 6 bunt singles this month. They had 6 month singles the entire season coming into this month. So the players have bought into it, right? That's where it all begins. The players saying, I'll sacrifice an at-bat. I'll do a little thing. I'll hit the ground ball to move the runner along. Right. How fun is that to watch?
Well, it's fun to watch, and we know our pitching staff is going to keep us in games. So, we were losing a lot of games early in the season by 1 run, and now we're winning those games.
Wilson Contreras at the home run derby. Did you enjoy that?
I loved it. I'm sorry he didn't get to the finals, but he's a special guy, and, we're looking forward. We are having this Venezuelan Heritage Night, I think on Wednesday. We're going to present a big check to Wilson and all the Venezuelan players, and I'm very proud of what we as an organization, what the fans have done supporting the Venezuelan relief efforts.
Yeah, and it hasn't been easy for the players to continue playing through it, and they've been remarkable. I want to ask before you leave, run to home base coming up this Saturday.
Okay, I'll see you on Saturday.
Going to see you Saturday morning, bright and early.
17th home base run. Yeah. And how many have you been there for? Almost
16. All but 1. I missed the first one, and my knee feels like it's been 30 or 40. But so many of our heroes, right? Our veterans, their families have been touched by this program. I know you've done a lot of great things with the Red Sox platform and with the support of Red Sox Nation, but this has to be one of the things you're most proud of, how this has grown.
Indeed, I am. I attended a graduation ceremony for 28 soldiers on Friday. These are people that some of them had considered taking their own lives, and home base was their last best hope. And it's one thing to have a good idea, but home base actually executes on that idea, and they go and they leave Boston after their experience, and they are stronger. They return to their families. We have given them back their lives. So I am indeed very proud of it, but I'm also proud of the support that we give to Dana-Farber and many other relief efforts.
Yeah, it's no doubt going to be a powerful day Saturday. Hope you can make it. If not, get online and make a donation.
We'll see Tom and me with our bibs on at 7 in the morning.
Cup of coffee in our bibs. Great to see you, Tom. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
All right, so it's great to hear from ownership. It's great Tom Warner came by. He came by, to his credit, after I think about a week after the firing of Alex Cora, kind of answered the music on that. And whatever went down then, I will say one thing. He said then that we still believe this group can turn it around. And nobody else did, obviously. Red Sox ownership did. Craig Breslow did. And sometimes a change of voice is part of that. Obviously, Chad Tracy came in and really just calmed everything down. But it's not like they turned it around. Morgan Magic in '88, I am old enough to remember that he came in and it was immediate. That's not the case here. right? Chad Tracy came in and they continued to struggle for a good long time. But as you said earlier, it's really the change in philosophy at the plate that has really turned everything around. But again, I just go back to Tom Warner before the game talking about Caleb Durbin, talking about how he's turned it around. Give these guys credit. They stuck with their plan, and as we sit here now, it's paying off.
Yeah, it almost feels, I hate to say this, but it feels like there's a culture shift, right? And it's kind of a little bit before even the winning streak, just the way that they were going about their business. I think Wilson has made his voice much louder, recognizing what they needed to do. We were talking about this a month ago. All right, if they could just go on a run right here, they're not going to sell everybody. They can get back in it, rattle off, 12 of 15, something like that. Not thinking it would actually happen because it's so hard to even get one sweep in this league. And now have 4. So it's absurd, but there's a shift in there. Winning helps, right? Just like Tom Warner said, winning fixes everything. Winning is important, especially here in a city like this. The fans feed off of that, but then the team feeds off of the fans, and it kind of keeps them going, and they want more of it. And you taste success in this stadium and in this city and this market, and it just makes you want more, right? And you're seeing this team build off of this, and it's been fun.
You guys in 2013, and the magic came late. It did. People forget that. It really, there was, what you did around the marathon was obviously special, but it's not like you ran away from the rest of the league from that day forward, right? It was really the last 6-7 weeks of the season. The whole bearded thing took off and fans got into it. The ballpark came to life. We saw it all happen. I often say when you watch a team, when you cover a team, the last thing, when a struggling team starts to play well, the last thing to come is the true belief, the confidence that good things are going to happen, right? Because up to now, the worst case scenario would happen on a daily basis. Take me inside of a clubhouse. You guys are all confident. You're all major league athletes, right? You don't get there without being confident. But when you're in last place, you're in last place. And internally, there's a shift at some point between, hey, everything's going to work out fine, what's going to go wrong tonight? They've brought it back from that to, how are we going to win this one tonight? That really is a mindset shift, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's contagious both ways, right? And there's something that when you're going to the stadium every day, playing not to lose, that's a tough thing to do, right? Especially in a place like this. And at this level, at the pinnacle of the sport, you can't play to not lose. You have to play to win. You have to come to the field every day and say, all right, we're going to win today. It sounds silly to say that, but it shapes your mind and how you go about your business every day. And as much as winning is contagious, losing is just as much. And, when you're excited to go to the ballpark, even think about our jobs, TC. It's hard to come to the field every day when you're going, hopefully we can just keep it close and we get a competitive game and have some good stuff to talk about. Because there were months there where you're just, you don't want to crush the team. You don't want to lay on them every night. You want to find something positive to talk about. But in this market, you can't, because people see right through it. And you got to be honest, because you want them to believe you when things are going well. So you got to be honest all the time. And it's really hard. It's exhausting, even for us. So for the players, it's even harder, right? When you're trying to perform, this is your livelihood. It's the back of your baseball card of what you've worked for your whole life. So to have it flip the way it has, which doesn't happen very often in this game, to flip as fast as it has, as quickly as it has, you got to just be happy for them, because you feel like these guys have earned this by just putting their head down and going to work.
Probably got about a minute here, and I want to ask you something that obviously I knew Tom Warner wasn't going to answer the question, but I had to ask. The interim tag on Chad Tracy. When Morgan Magic happened, during that, they lifted the interim tag and made Joe Morgan the manager of the Red Sox. Is there any reason to do that now? I mean, obviously he's earned it. You could make the argument he's earned it. Yeah. You see what they're doing. But, I don't know. I sort of feel like, do this the rest of the year, go win the World Series, whatever, you're going to get yours. I don't know. Is there, do you think they should do something like that during the regular season?
I could see it either way. I think in the midst of the way things are going right now, it's an even more of a boost to the team, because the team loves them. They've rallied behind them. They have built this relationship and trust level within that clubhouse that if the team says, you know what, you're our guy, you've earned this, we trust you, you've gained this, I think that the team would just take off even more. I feel like the players in there would get behind them even more and be excited about it, right? In the midst of this, like, okay, because you feel like as a player, we helped get that for our manager, and you feel really proud of yourself. So I think it would be a great move right now. I think he's earned it. I think he's handled this flawlessly. Anytime a AAA manager gets brought up mid-season, it's never a good situation, right? Somebody got fired, the team's playing poorly,
right,
and he has handled it perfectly.
It's a really good point, too, because like you said, the players feel we earned that for him because the players felt we led to Alex Cora losing his job, right? Yeah. So you went from that feeling of responsibility to how about a feeling of positive responsibility. The Tracy turnaround has been incredible to watch. So happy for him. Guys like him and Chad Epperson, who have been lifetime minor league managers and coaches, getting an opportunity and making the most of it. All right, we're going to take a break. Come back. 3:10 to left, presented by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series. America's best-selling truck for 49 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. Will and I come back, wrap it up after this. 3:10 to left is presented by your New England Ford dealers, who've been taking everyone out to the ball game at Fenway Park for decades. Catch Ford next time you're at Fenway, including in the Ford Clubhouse, a full-service bar perfect for bringing your lineup together and for recording our live edition of 3:10 to left. It's all brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. All right, coming back to wrap things up here. Will Ranger Suarez on the mound tonight. Did need a rehab. This is the second time it's happened with him where he was able to sort of come back as quickly as you might hope. Kind of a forgotten guy over these last few weeks because they've been doing all this without him, but he's a really important part going forward.
Yeah, he is. This is a guy who, after his first 3 or 4 starts, really dialed in, was one of the better pitchers in the league based off the numbers and the results. Be curious to see what the move is, just because you might need length out of the bullpen. So I think maybe you keep Brian Bayo around, right? Because he's been good out of the pen. You might need some length. Who knows if this comes back to bite Suarez? It's groin, adductor, whatever it is. It's hard to really test that until you get into a game. He looked good moving around. He looked good in his bullpen and all that, and his sides. But I think the Brian Bayo is going to be sitting next to the phone just in case if he can't. But I think Ranger's going to be all right. I think he's fine. He was out there bouncing around, laughing, having fun yesterday.
Brian Bayo has been sitting next to the phone since the All-Star break. It's funny, right? Like that. I mean, that's why you've kept him here, because you can make an argument in each one of these starts that they might need to go to a long guy pretty quickly, right? First, it was Bennett right out of the break. He was phenomenal. Then in that second game, you didn't know if it was really going to be a true bullpen game or were you just going to throw. They wind up managing through that, right? Every one of these games, even Tolley last night, right? Could something happen and we have to go to the bullpen? It's been a valuable thing to have, but it's crazy they haven't had to use them because they've been able to navigate through all of this.
Yeah, I think his last game was the last game in New York, right? Where he
Sunday,
had the shortened start and then he came in and threw the ball really well. I think if he's this is his role, which it's going to be for the rest of the year. This is kind of good for him to go through this, where you have to get up and get hot a couple times and not go in the game, because that's like the next step for being a bullpen guy.
There was a shot of him, was it Friday, the second game of the doubleheader, where he just looked really dejected in the bullpen. Yeah. And again, we don't, could it have been something else entirely? Who knows, right? But the timing of the video was at a point where they kind of went to their one-inning guys and didn't use him. And that would be my only concern, where Brian Bayo is an emotional guy and we've seen him go through the ups and downs. I think, to your point, the best case scenario is this helps him get even better at dealing with the highs and lows of when I'm getting in, when I'm getting out. But I just hope it doesn't affect him.
Yeah, and you hope the saving grace to all this is he goes, the team's winning. That's it's most important, right? It's not about me. So, it can be tough. You're a starter. You're supposed to be a guy here. You signed a contract. Didn't go well. Now you find yourself sitting out the bullpen waiting for the phone to ring, and it's not happening right now. And that's a tough place to be, but that's where you get behind your teammates, right? Still have to be a good teammate. That's number one, and just be happy they're winning games, and you'll pitch when you pitch.
The 100th game of the season coming up tonight at Fenway Park. Red Sox going for 15 wins. I know everyone keeps running around saying how old Yaz was last time. How about this? Fenway Park was only 34 years old last time they won this many games.
Crazy.
Fenway Park had only been drinking for 13 years when they won this many games in a row.
Fenway started way before that, TC. Come on.
Yeah, that's fair. It's Boston.
Let's be honest.
All right, good stuff, Will. It was a blast watching it last night. Glad they won on your re-entry. I know that's important to everybody. So welcome back to the party. We appreciate you.
Made it through that one. Let's get another one.
All right, Will Middlebrooks with us as we get ready for more baseball at Fenway Park. And by the way, that's one thing. The two things they hadn't done going into the break: beat American League East teams, win games at home. They're doing both of that. Looking to continue it tonight. Thanks for watching 310 to Left, presented by New England Ford Dealers. For Will Middlebrooks, I'm Tom Caron. See you again next time.